What's up, guys? This week, being a little busy, so I decided to just kind of go live. Um, but I'm still gonna be trying. I'm gonna still try to make this something that's very useful for you guys. But for you guys that are watching this not live after it was recorded, please skip to 2 minutes. Um, After 2 minutes, that's when I'm actually gonna be um, gonna start talking about the subject, which I think is a very, very important subject, um, especially if you are just starting as a developer or considering being a developer as a career. So yeah, what's up, guys? Just saying hi to the people that are live. Again, we're gonna start at the 2 minute mark. Actually, speaking about the topic that I have for today. So if you have any questions that you want me to about that topic, basically um, the negative parts about being a developer, feel free to ask them now, and then after I start at the 2 minute mark, I can incorporate those questions in there and try to get an answer for you guys. Somebody let me know about the video quality, please. We have about 20 seconds before we actually start. So I I'm in my car, but I try to drive somewhere that had decent service, and I hope it's working out. So if it doesn't look good, please let me know, and if it does, please let me know for you guys that are watching live. All right, so we are at 2 minutes, and today I have a very very important topic that I don't see almost anybody on YouTube talking about. Um, and I think it kind of makes sense because usually, um, especially in the software development field, um, which includes a lot of things that are software, including web development. You don't really see any of the software development, web development people on YouTube talking about the negative things about being a developer. There is some content around that, but there is not that much, and it kind of makes logical sense. If somebody is a developer and they have a YouTube channel, more often than not, they're probably a successful developer, so they're probably really biased about that career, and most of them don't take the time to talk about the negative side. But I what I see wrong with that is that for new people that are just starting in the industry or that are looking to get started, maybe somebody that hasn't actually started is just kind of watching videos, or somebody that only has spent a few months, but they're not quite sure if they want to spend like their career doing that or most of their time. I think it's very, very important that for every decision that you take, you try to make you try to look at things objectively and not just bias content. So the same way that you look at the positive things, you should also look at the negatives and see if it's still worth it. Now, with me being a developer, being an employee developer right now with less than 2 years of experience, about a year and a half right now of actually working as a developer. What have I noticed so far in my career? That I have a lot of videos that talk about the positive things, and if you haven't watched those, then you probably should, because I think that that content is very valuable, and it's a lot of content that I think is probably the best content that I have on YouTube, because it's a lot of the benefits that other developers they just kind of don't even mention because to them that's just normal, or maybe when they started making videos on YouTube, they had a lot of experience, so it wasn't as shocking as it was for me that I basically started making videos almost as soon as I got my first job. But what are some of the negative things that I have seen about being a developer? Now, a lot of these negative things I'm not trying to say that being a developer is a bad career, but just like everything else in life, it has its negative side. So just because I'm gonna be talking about a lot of negative stuff doesn't mean that it's a bad career. That's literally everything that I see wrong with it. So also look at the positive things, if you are planning to make a decision based on that. So I think the biggest negative about being a developer is definitely going to be health. And that is not something that's only going to apply to being a developer. That's going to apply to any type of job where you are sitting down. And being a developer is one of those jobs. Even though it's kind of weird because a lot of developers um, are aware of this, and usually developers are smart people, so they a lot of developers use standing desk because it's a little bit better for your health than be sitting down all day. And what most developers do is that they every all the time that they are coding, they're using a standing desk, so they're standing. And then when they go to meetings and things like that, which happen a lot when you are a developer, um, or creating anything in life, or when you're an engineer, pretty much. Then when they go to meetings, they sit down, and when they go back to their desk, they stand up. Um, so generally speaking, compared to other careers, developers are very aware of that, I would say. So it's very common to see in the working place a lot of people using standing desk. But the fact that you are sitting down all day, um, and the fact that most developers don't only go to work and sit down at work, but they also do research and they work on side projects and things like that on the side, also makes it even worse because you're not only sitting down at work, you're also sitting down at home. So that's something that I have seen basically firsthand. Um, I have I talked a little bit about this in my first video this year, but ever since I became a developer, I have gained about 35 pounds. So yeah, I mean there's probably other things involved. I definitely could be eating better too. Um, but just the fact that I'm just sitting down all day, and then the fact that I'm working on side projects and also learning more. So at the very beginning of my career, like the first year, it was I would I went to work, I sat down all day at work, and then when I went home, because I was like just getting started in the industry, I had to do a lot more research. So I was sitting down at home also on the computer doing a lot more research, and it definitely has affected my health negatively in that sense. Again, if I was doing any other profession where I had to sit at a desk, it would probably be a very close result when it comes to that. So it's not only being a developer, but that's just how it works. Now, compared to other jobs I had in the past, for example, one of the jobs I had in the past was at a before I was a developer or an engineer, whatever you want to call it. Um, I worked at a warehouse for a big supermarket chain, and at that warehouse we worked time, and it was you know carrying like produce like boxes of watermelons, potato sacks that were like 50 pounds heavy, and you had to do that all day, all the time, and you work time, and I mean, in that job, needless to say, I didn't have to join I didn't need a gym membership or anything like that. I damn near had a six pack, and I was just working, just by working there, being time all the time. I mean, I was athletic before then, um, but after working there, I didn't really need to go to the gym, and I was in shape. Um, I was time all day, and you were sweating all day, even when you went to the bathroom. Um, if you went to the bathroom and let's say you took 5 minutes, then you have to work extra fast so that you could still do it on time because everything you did was time. So a job like that obviously pays a lot less, but when it comes to your health, it keeps you active, and you're gonna be in way better shape. So if you're a developer, keep that in mind. It's gonna be detrimental to your health, just like any other desk job. So if you don't want your health to take a toll, you need to find a way to stay active, whether it is run in the mornings or in the afternoons, or getting a gym membership, just doing something active. And that's something that I have to get better at myself. As some of you guys know that follow me on social media, that I always share, I do play semi-pro football, but that's only during the summer. So during the other part of the year, I'm not really working out as much, and so I need to get better at that. So that's the first thing, health. Um, Another thing that you could say it's bad, if you try to compare everything, and especially when it comes to the negative things about it. Um, it's that it's not a trivial job. Um, some people might say it's good, some people might say it's bad. But just so that you are aware of that, because I think almost every developer thinks that's a good thing. But if you are a person that's starting in the industry, you don't know for a fact yet. Maybe maybe it could be bad for you. I don't know. So I personally don't think it's bad, but a lot of people think it is, and it is that it is a career that it's gonna require you to be um, really dedicated to it. There's other jobs where, let's say you work at, I don't know, at Cabela's. I'm saying that because I see one there. That's like a retail store. You work at Cabela's. Um, you go into work. You do what you gotta do. Maybe within like a retail job or something like that. Maybe they have some of like those rules that those type of jobs have, where like, you're not allowed to be on your phone or whatever. You know, but at the end of the day, once you leave Cabela's, you're done. Like, you are done once you leave Cabela's. Like, you go home, you do whatever you want. You can go and waste your time watching Netflix, watching TV, or whatever, and then you come in the next day, and you could do that working at Cabela's for 17 years, and still have and still be a good employee for them. And I don't know, maybe you might even get promoted to being a shift manager, and then a store manager eventually. Even you just go into the store, you do your job, you go home. That's it. Um, with being a developer, if you do that, you are not gonna be as successful. Now, there are some people that kind of do that, but nobody really does that 100% in the software development field or in the web development field. There is no way that if you just go to your job and do the same thing every single day as a developer, you're gonna stay in the job. It's just not gonna happen, because technology moves, as everybody knows. So, if in the past, people were, I'm gonna use a very obvious example. If in the past people were only making websites for desktop computers with a screen that was at least, I don't know, 14 inches, um, why that might have been acceptable in the past, but now, like, the vast majority of people that use the internet on their phones. So if you're a web developer that only knows how to make websites for desktop computers or laptops with a 14-inch screen or more, then you're not really that valuable anymore. Because now it's like, that's like the, depending on what type of business the app that you're building is for. But if you are, especially if you are targeting like the end user, um, if it's not like a business to business concept, whatever you do on mobile is going to be way more important than what you do on the desktop, because that's where most of the people are going to see the website. So if you were a developer that knew how to make websites 15 years ago, and you just went into work did the same thing every day, nowadays you nobody wants to hire you because it's like, bro, like nobody's doing that stuff anymore. You know, maybe you work for a company where they're like really behind and things like that, and maybe your skills are still valuable, but chances are that that's hard. That's something that I've seen at all with every person that I worked with. I worked in a company where there was like I don't know 800 people in the building. All developers, and every single one of them, obviously there were various levels. There were people that they were at work, and when they went home, that's all they did: work on other projects, learn more things. And there were people that they worked and then they went home and they did other stuff. But even those people that went home and did other stuff, they found some time, maybe not every day, but at least once a week, um, or at least a few times a month, to pick up on new concepts and learn new technologies. Um, you go to conferences. You are always going to be learning. So that's something that some people might find it's a bad thing. So be aware of that. If you're not willing to put up with that, take that into consideration. Have to um, you always have to stay learning, and you always have to um, you know at least understand that you're gonna have to work on your career not only at work but sometimes outside of work hours. And the great thing is that usually almost every developer job gives you a tremendous support when it comes to that. As I told you guys, when I have before I quit my safe corporate job to work at a startup, at that job they literally gave us 20% of all of the time that they pay for us to do whatever we wanted, as long as we were either benefiting their company or working in our own skills that in a way that's going to benefit the company. So you don't hear about that at any other job. I never heard about that. I'm sure there probably is a different job that does that, but it's not the norm. Where a company tells you, okay, we're gonna give you 20% of your time that we're paying you for. You can do whatever you want with it. We don't care what it is, as long as it's either helping us or helping you. So companies are great with that. If you think about it, that's one day out of the week. And yes, you could literally do that at that job. Work, for example, you could work Monday to Friday on whatever they told you to do, working on the projects that at hand. And then Monday to Thursday. And then on Fridays, you could, you could just spend the whole day working on your own things, making yourself better, learning things, um, building things that they are not asking you to build, but maybe you wanna work on building a mobile app for something, um, and you take the time to do it, and they pay you to do that, whatever you want to. So obviously, like now that I'm a startup, it's not quite like that because at a startup they don't have the big pockets like that. But still, just the fact that exists in this industry and that it doesn't only exist at that company, but at a lot of companies, that's great. But again, we're supposed to be talking about the negatives. But yes, even though companies do help you with that, you are going to have to put in extra time outside of work. Um, Another thing that's negative that I think is very, very, very important, um, and I kind of wanted to save it for the third topic because it, it could quite be the most important thing. It's the more time I spend in this career, um, and the more I've been watching, not watching, making YouTube videos and trying to help other people, there is a big, big, big wave of people that are coming into this career because of the money. And yes, it's true. There is money to be made in this industry, but how much is it really? And also, what's realistic, what's not realistic, and is it a career that you want to jump into because of the money? Now, that's a very delicate subject, I believe. So I will try my best to explain it in a way and hopefully not get out the wrong impression, or hopefully I don't give out the wrong message. But when it comes to money and being in development, um, is that really a career that you can jump on because it's like the I don't know, the new gold rush? The answer, most people will tell you, some people will tell you like yes, 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 for sure, like get in, it's like the gold rush, you're gonna make so much money. And some other people will tell you like no, you should never do it unless you like it, because you're gonna have to be learning every day, and you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to do that for the rest of your career. So if you don't like it, like don't jump in at all. My answer, for me, like most things, is I'm sorry, but it's not a straight up answer. It's kind of like it depends. Now, what does it depend on? It depends how much, um, you know, how much can you put up with it. So first of all, if you are into computers, if you are into computers, and you are a person, you're the type of kid that um, that loves computers, and loves like maybe has an Android phone because the iPhones are not like techy enough for you. They're like too like user friendly, and you like more like the customization, and you're like you know like a gamer, and and you couldn't wait to get home from school to be on your computer, things like that. If you are that type of kid, being a developer, it's like it's gonna be awesome for you because you are literally gonna get paid to do those things. And the people that actually like don't only what I have noticed is like the people that don't only work as a developer, but they actually love it. They actually love it, and they do a lot of things outside of work, and then work on new things, and then they even come with their own libraries and things like that. Those people do really, really, really well. And if you are that type of person, there is no reason why you should be making, not starting out, but eventually, there is no reason why you should be making less than $200,000. There's no reason. And the reason I say that is, I'm not saying that every developer job is going to pay you over $200,000. That's not what I'm saying. But if you are the person that becomes a developer, gets a job as an actual developer, and then on top of that, most of your awake time, you're always learning new things, and you are working on new projects, building new libraries and things like that. You you know, those are the people, pretty much what a lot of us call like nerds. Those are the people that go and get jobs like at places like Google and Netflix that pay over $200,000. Um, Now, not everybody is that type of kid that like lives and breathes computer. A lot of us are just regular people that are, that they're cool with computers. Um, they're not like necessarily like a nerd. I don't consider myself a nerd. And software, and being a software engineer, or being a developer is something cool that that we think like, oh crap, I think it'd be cool for me to have the skills that I can like make apps, whether they are for the web or native, and like cell phone apps or whatever. um some of us think it's cool. We're not necessarily like super nerds that's all we eat, you know live and breathe. um I think for us, it just depends like how much do you actually, kind of like computers. Should you take this career? Because if you're a person that like knows nothing about computers, and if you're a person that just straight up doesn't like computers, you are probably not gonna enjoy this career. It's just a fact. It's a career that does pay really well, compared to most other careers, especially in this day and age where everything is moving more towards technology based. Nowadays, I don't remember who was that said this, but it was like a one of those big business mongrel that you hear about all the time. Um, I can't remember exactly who it was, but they said that every company is a tech company nowadays. Every company is a tech company or otherwise it's pretty much going out of business. And to me, that kind of makes sense. To me, that kind of makes sense. You look at for example, again, I'm sitting in a parking lot where there's a Kroger behind me and there's a Cabela's in front of me. If you look at those companies are spending big money in their technology because it's a big deal. But um, you might say that there's other companies that are maybe not doing the same. Well, those companies are probably not going to be around for longer. So yes, there is the demand. If you're cool with computers and you have the patience to figure things out, you are going to do very well in this career. So I wouldn't say it's any worse, even if you're not like that's like all you live and breathe. Let's say like your favorite thing in the world is I don't know, um, what um, cars, cars. I'm saying them because I'm seeing a few cars, and actually that's a very good example because I had an employee, sorry, not an employee, I had a colleague um, that was an employee like I was at my last job um, at the big corporation, and his name is Matthew. He's super nice guy and super smart guy, and he really liked cars. He was into cars. He even had like a convertible, and then he had like a BMW, and he also had cars like for his family. So he was really into cars. But at the same time, um, it's not like he also liked technology and things like that. So if you think you can be the person that even let's say in your case you actually like cars more than you like technology, but you can stand technology, then I think being a software engineer or being a software developer, web developer, whatever you want to call it, is a great career for you because you can make good money, and most places give you a good if you're just an employee, they give you a good life work life balance. So if you love cars, you can work, and then when you get off work, you can work on your when you get off work, you can work on your cars. Yes, there are going to be those days where you're going to maybe want to read about a new technology and things like that, but that's you don't have to do that every single day. Again, what I'm saying is the people that do that every single day are the people that go on and get those 200 k plus a year jobs. But if you just want to like learn your stuff, get your job, and gradually get better, not like every single day know a new language, you can still do that. But again, if you hate like if you just cannot get along with computers and you cannot picture yourself sitting on a desk for like 8 hours a day, if you are like the type, I literally have heard people say this, and it's actually not something that weird. You probably heard it too, where there's people like, man, I don't know, man, I gotta be moving, I gotta be working at a store or something where I'm like fixing up things, cleaning up, whatever. If you are that type of person, this is not for you. I'm sorry, I'd rather tell you that. There are many other careers. There are many other careers that pay really, really well. Um, some to like close to being a software engineer. Some even more that don't require you to jump into this. So if you feel like you hate this, sorry, and you are doing it strictly because of the money, then then you shouldn't do it. Period. What could you do? I don't know, man. There's a lot of other things that pay close or more than being a software developer. Like for example, being an electrician. There's a lot of electricians. If you become good at it, you actually like doing things, physical things or whatever. You're not sitting on your butt all the time, and you can make really good money. You can make 40, 50 bucks an hour doing that. Depending on who you're doing it for. Obviously, if you're doing it like for some cheap landlord that owns a few houses that he rents out, you're not gonna make that much. But if you become good at it and you are doing job for like a big corporation and things like that, you're gonna make way more than that. So you could be an electrician, you could be a freaking plumber, you could be the people that I also hear that get paid very well, and it doesn't take that long to learn the stuff. It's the people that do like air conditioning and heating. So if you're just doing it for the money, look into those things. A lot of the times you can get into those industry really easy. Or being a mechanic, there's a lot of programs that I see, like locally and even on the internet all the time about like being a mechanic and how we, like 6 months programs, a year long program, and then like after the year, you're guaranteed to go work for like one of the big ones, like either Toyota, Honda, Ford, whatever. So if you're one of those persons that hate computers, maybe those are better jobs for you. And a perfect example of that is I have a cousin that I was roommates with, and when I decided that I was, we both used to work at like the really crappy jobs together, getting paid close to minimum wage. All those, the warehouse job that I mentioned before, factory jobs, all those crappy jobs. We worked a lot of those together, and we were also roommates. When I decided I was gonna go into software development, and I was talking to him like while I was making the decision, and like I kind of like computers, and at the same time, like it's great pay. I feel like I can get into that. Um, he was like, "Yeah, man, I just don't see myself doing that. I just don't see myself doing that. I'm not like that type of person." So I went my way, and we were roommates, whatever. And I went my way, and I decided to learn software development. That's what I did. What did he do? He stayed working at the regular jobs and all that. Now, the story might not turn out how you think it will. When I got my software development job, my first job, it was like, going from making like, I don't know, like 14 an hour, whatever I was making at that point, to making, to getting paid as an engineer, it's like such a huge difference. And I remember like when I got my first job, my first job that I got was in a different city, so I had to move out. I was not roommates with him anymore. And and then I remember and I asked him like, how you doing? He's like, like same old. But he was looking into becoming a trucker, like driving semis. I think I mentioned this in one of my videos a long time ago. But he was looking into getting into driving semis because to him that was more he would like that better, like get to see the country and go places rather than sitting at a desk. And and he decided, I told him like, man, if you're looking into it, like honestly, man, I told him like, now that I'm making like some decent money, man, those jobs, like, don't spend like a minute more than you need to be spending at those crappy jobs. Like those are jobs just so that you don't die, so that you can survive. But if you're looking into the semis, go do it, man. Start looking into it and go do it. And he went and he did it, and he's making more money than me. He's making over 100K, and he hasn't done it for a full. He has just now. He actually um completed his first year, and he's making over $100,000. And I know that because um, we were roommates and we're also family and things like that. So we don't mind like talking about money and things like that. But yeah, and that's for you guys that don't know. I'm making less than that, especially now that I'm working at a startup and things like that. So I'm not definitely not making $100,000. I wish, but he's driving a freaking semi, and I mean he works hard. Like he works hard, and he works like the maximum that you're allowed to work as like a semi driver and all that. Plus he also like he got into the business through some people that we knew, so he got like a good pay starting out and all that. But the only thing that I want to say with this is that if you hate computers, don't just get into being a software developer because of the money. There's other things out there that you could be doing that could pay you more money than being a software developer. A lot of other things, and there are some that maybe not might pay you as well, but maybe you'll be happier doing those things. But at the same day, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that you have to be a nerd to do that. You absolutely do not have to be a nerd. You absolutely do not have to be a nerd. I don't consider myself a nerd. Um, and honestly, if you ask me the question, if I had all the money in the world, would I be writing code all the time like I am now? No, probably. Honestly, probably no. Some people would say I definitely would. Actually, a lot of people would. If you look at a lot of like CEOs and things like that, they still write code for fun and things like that. Me, I don't think I would. At least not on a daily basis. You know. But again, I'm doing okay, and I'm learning every day. I think it's really cool to be able to make things. Um, I also really like the business. Just the value. I think that's what I like the most about the career. How much value you bring to yourself. Like just knowing that, like I could technically right now, if I really wanted to, it would be risky. I'm not saying it won't be risky, but if I wanted to, I could quit my job and start a business, like with something that's actually valuable. Not like doing no like multi-level bullshit or anything like that. Like actually, start like a real business and build a product that I can build on my own. Yes, it would take a lot of time. People have like regular people have no idea like how long it takes to build good software. Sometimes it takes not a long time to build a prototype, but that's something that's going to have $1 million and things like that. Um, but to build like actual real production ready software, it takes a long time. But that's something that if I wanted to and if I was really dedicated to it, I could do that if I wanted to. And I'm only being in the industry what, a year and a half now. So I'm honestly like super excited to see like where am I gonna be at, like a year from now, and so on. And so I really love that aspect of it, and I really love learning about it. But if that doesn't excite you at all, then this is probably not for you. There's other things that you could be doing out there, other careers where you could make better money. But again, you don't have to be a nerd. So those three things, I think, are things that I never seen people talk about it here. Again, to summarize, the first one, the health, um, the bad things with the health. Just like any job where you are sitting at a desk is going to be detrimental to your health. The second thing, it's what was the second thing? Oh, it's not a job that you go and you leave. You go, you get your job done, and you're done, and then you go home. It's a job where every once in a while after work, you're gonna have to put in those hours, and maybe you're gonna have to read some books or read some articles online, do some tutorials, things like that to get better. And third, which is something that I see almost nobody talking about. Again, I'm not in the corner. It's about the money. I'm not in the corner that says you should do this because of the money, but I'm also not in the corner that should say like you should not do this unless you absolutely love it. I'm kind of like in the middle. If you're cool with it, make your money, bro. Get into the field, learn awesome things, gain awesome skills. You don't have to be a nerd. You don't have to leave, breathe, code, and you can make your money. You don't have to be a nerd. But if you absolutely hate it, then it's not for you, man. I'm sorry, because you are gonna have to get into this stuff. And then the fourth thing, um, that some of you know, some of you might not know, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work. Now the beauty about it, it's hard work that pays off. It's like almost nothing is guaranteed in life, but the hard work that you put in to be a software developer, it's it's as close as guarantee as any career can be. There's a lot of careers where you can go and get into debt in college and all that stuff, and then come out and not get a job into the actual thing that you study. There's a million people that study marketing and all this stuff. I'm not saying that those are not important careers, but they get out of job and they get out of school and they can find a job and they end up doing something kind of like it. And in a lot of places, they just get like maybe they get an office job because they have college experience, but it have nothing to do with their career. At least in software development, there's such a demand for it because every company is a tech company, whether they realize it or not. Especially in this day and age, or at least every company that wants to be successful is a tech company. You cannot ignore tech as a company. That's how you fail. So that's the great thing about it. it is really hard work, which to some people might be a bad thing. But if you are able to put that hard work, at least you know there's something on the other side. Because you know, a lot of us have invested a lot of time and money and effort into things that we thought are gonna turn out into something, and they just don't. Like, especially in my case with me, like having starting like a few businesses and having some that were successful and failed because of critical mistakes that I made in the past, and then going back to having to work really crappy jobs, to some other businesses that working at those crappy jobs, I busted my ass working extra hours and all that stuff, and then investing money into them just to lose all the money. There's a lot of things that you invest your time, money, and sweat into, and do a lot of hard work for, that you just don't know at the end of the day. With At least with software development, with being a developer, if you're yes, if you are a person that considers a lot of hard work to be a negative thing, then yes, it's a lot of hard work. So it's not gonna be easy, but at least it's as close to guarantee for the results as you can get. There is nobody out there. I don't know one single person that has all the skills, or I don't know a single person that has the average um, skills of a developer and doesn't have a job. I don't know one. Now, obviously, with me having this channel, especially after one of the videos that I made in the past, where I said, if you have the skills and you don't have a job, hit me up because I will get you a job right now, because I have so many recruiters and people asking me to give them people. Usually, what happens is that they hit me up, and they don't have that experience, and they think like they have a lot of skills, but they don't have like the skills to. They're actually not there. But if they just keep working and keep getting better, once they get there to like at least like the average developer level, it's a wrap, man. Like, it's a wrap. Like, I don't know another career where you're almost as guaranteed to succeed if you put in the work as this one. So again, I think I'm gonna leave it there. Now, please comment other things that I might have not mentioned that were, negative about software development. Again, the health thing, the crap, what was the second one? The health thing, that you have to put in hours after work, the money thing, and then the what I just mentioned, like how hard it is compared to other careers to actually get all the skills. Um, those four things are like the biggest negatives that I can see about it, um, generally speaking. And again, that's just to put it so that when you are comparing it to other careers that you are thinking of taking on, you can see all those things. Now, with software development, I know this is not about the positive, but even though I mentioned that it's really hard work, it's hard work that you actually have to do and you actually have to like concentrate into. But it's not longer work than like, I don't know, going to school to be I don't know, civil engineer or something. Yeah, you're gonna have to do your school work and all that. Being a developer is like you can do it faster, but that is if you can work. The harder you work, the faster you can do it, type of thing. So even though it's a lot of hard work, it pays off and you can do it faster. But it's definitely hard work. It's not easy. Whoever tells you it's easy, it's lying to you. But again, it's almost guaranteed once you put in the work. And for you guys that are getting into the field, I know that I was in this position, and I feel like I'm sorry if I'm discouraging you. That is not what I mean to do by this video. Please watch all of my other videos, because I know in my case, one of the reasons why I decided to go full on into being a developer is because a lot of people say like, it's easy, man, it's easy, anybody can do it, which is true, anybody can do it. Now, is it easy? No, I think what they meant to say is like, anybody can do it, and if you put in the work, you will get the results, because it's been a lot of hard work, at least for me. Maybe I'm just a dumb person, and that's why it's hard for me. Uh, but once you put in the work and you get those skills, and you're able to make things, is I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing, especially for somebody like me that like likes technology. It's you know it's not like a super nerd, but it's like good with computers and like businesses and things like that. I really like all the value that it brings into my life. So just wanted to talk about those four things. If you haven't watched my other videos, please do, because I have a lot of videos about the positive things about it. Um, so thank you guys for watching. You guys have a good weekend, and I will see you guys later because it's time for me to go. When I started this video, I don't. It was just starting snowing, and now look how much snow there is. Oh well. See you guys later. Bye.